We have a very special treat. You are meeting someone new on the night side. Personal injury lawyer Jasmine Daya, and the law firm is Jasmine Daya and Co.
Yes,
and Co. Hello, Jasmine Daya.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks so much for having me.
So you have, first of all, a very interesting story. I've read a bit about you. You are a novelist as well as a lawyer.
Yes, ma'am.
That's very cool.
Yes.
And you were pregnant in law school? Found out you were pregnant at the end of law school?
Found out. I was on the New York City law school trip and found out I was pregnant. I was wondering why I was nauseous, and that was the reason.
And isn't that interesting? Because in reading about you, I think you mentioned that your parents, as any parents would be, were worried about your plans being derailed, and it's a cause for concern for sure. Was the time, maybe they thought the timing was not there, or anyway, you tell us about that.
The timing was definitely not right in terms of my parents' opinion. In my opinion also, I was extremely nervous about what that meant for my future. I'd been in school 4 years undergrad, 3 years law school, was just planning on articling somewhere, doing the interviews, and found out I was pregnant. So I was nervous, to say the least. But fast forward, my son is now 12, going on 13 in September, and he is amazing. He has brought me a lot of joy, and he keeps me grounded.
How did that work for you in terms of becoming a lawyer and having a young child? Were you still able to work at the same place you were planning on working at?
I don't know where I would have worked because I had to drop out of the articling interviews.
Oh, you did?
Yes, because I didn't know what it would mean for me being pregnant. It was my first time. I didn't know how fast I would recover. I didn't know what pregnancy entailed. I didn't know about labor. I didn't know anything. All I knew was that I was pregnant and I needed to finish law school, and we would take it from there. And it just so happened that towards the end of my pregnancy, I was freaking out, talking to friends, saying, okay, can someone please help me find a job? Because if I don't article, here in Ontario, if you don't article, you can't get called to the bar. You can't be a lawyer. So I put out feelers, talked to anyone that would listen to me. Basically, all my friends had to keep listening to me. And it just so happened that I came back home. And back then, we didn't have cell phones. So, or maybe I had one, but didn't have voicemail. We didn't carry them like we do now. So I came home from the hospital and had a message on my answering machine at home that said, we'd like to call you in for an interview. And I called right away. My son was 2 days old. Wow. And I went in for an interview 3 weeks later. I got hired. I even had to borrow a suit from a friend of mine because none of my clothes fit and I didn't want to buy something new. It was this whole ordeal. But we made it work, and I started articling 6 weeks after my son was born. Got called to the bar with my friends in my law school class.
Congratulations.
So,
that's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
And that's not easy to leave your child at 6 weeks to, pursue your dream. Like, you really managed to do it all, which is fantastic.
When you're living it, you don't think about it. You just do it. Mm-hmm. You're in sort of survival mode. Whereas now, when I look back, I can't even believe. I don't even know how I survived that period of my life. I was so sleep deprived, as any first-time mother knows. Like, you don't know sleep deprivation until you have a child. Yeah,
100%. Well, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. And one thing that I find really interesting, you're a personal injury lawyer. You specialize in 4 areas of personal injury law that are apparently not common in the personal injury world: bar and club assaults, bullying, cyberbullying, issues affecting minors, and landlord negligence. How did you find yourself specializing in these? Is it just where your interest lies?
Yes, it's where my interest lies. And I also found that people... personal injury lawyers do everything, and I can do everything. I'm very capable of doing it all, but there's certain areas that I'm really passionate about. And when you're passionate about something, you work a lot harder and you really enjoy what you do. And, claims involving minors, for example, it gives me such pleasure to help these kids who've been so seriously injured, due to the negligence of others. They don't have a voice. And so I help them be their voice.
Who needs a personal injury lawyer?
Anyone that's injured as a result of the negligence of someone else needs a lawyer. They need to at least consult with a lawyer to see what avenues they can pursue, what their rights are, give them guidance in terms of, help and navigating the system. And then it's up to the individual if they want to pursue litigation or not.
One of the things, and we're going to touch on it because we have about a minute left before we have to break, but you said one of the things people don't really consider in terms of hiring a lawyer for is bouncer assault at nightclubs.
Right. Yeah, bouncer assault is something that I've seen a lot more of these days, and it's not because it's new. It's been happening for years, but in my opinion, it's with the advent of technology. We can actually capture what's happening out there, and the information is flowing so quickly through social media. You've got viral videos from that camera footage that captures exactly what was happening, and you see that, wait a second, this was an unprovoked attack. And sometimes we assume or have assumed in the past, maybe that person was just drunk and, started getting into an altercation with the bouncer. Whereas now you get the opportunity to have the evidence in your hand, prove that, no, that's not actually what happened. And you can take a second sober look at the evidence yourself and say, wait, this is not fair. This should not be happening to me.
If you have any questions for Jasmine Daya, personal injury lawyer, give us a call at 416-872-1010. Text us at 71010. Our conversation continues. You're listening to The Night Side. Great to have you along and welcome back to the show. In studio right now, personal injury lawyer Jasmine Daya. It's the first time we are meeting Jasmine. And we've got the phone lines open at 416-872-1010. Text us at 71010 if you have a question about personal injury law. So, Jasmine, you're ready to go with your headphones. We've got someone on the line. We're going to go to the call. Linda is on the line. Hey, Linda, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Barb. Okay, my question is this. My daughter had an accident about a month ago, and the other party got fully charged. And now they want to reopen the case after a month.
Do you have any questions? Jasmine, you can just ask her anything you need to know.
Sure. So this is a car accident claim?
Yes.
And your daughter was the operator of a vehicle?
Yes.
And you're saying the other driver in the other vehicle was charged?
Right. And they had to pay for the rental of the vehicle for my daughter because she was out her car for 3 weeks.
Okay. So has a lawsuit been commenced against your daughter?
Yeah, apparently her insurance, she called her insurance when she got a letter saying they're, I guess, suing her for suffer and pain. Meanwhile, when the accident happened, they got out of the car and everything. They were walking around, they were fine. The mom and the son and the baby, and walking around and all kind of stuff. But I was in the car with my daughter, and we stayed in the car the whole time. And then after the officer finally showed up and said to us to get out of the car and for my daughter to take pictures of the other vehicle. So my daughter did, right? And then her insurance says no cost to you at all. They had to pay for the damages and everything and rental and all that stuff, and it was like almost $12,000 damage.
So the property damage claim, that's the damage aspect, is separate from a personal injury claim. So if a personal injury claim has been commenced against your daughter and your daughter had valid insurance at the time of the accident, her insurance company will hire or a lawyer for her or use an in-house lawyer from the insurance company. So your daughter will have legal counsel available to her and it will be paid for.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be paid for.
She have to probably go to court. Her insurance said that you'll probably get another letter in a few days saying that you have, to go to court and to call us right away.
Okay.
Yeah. But we just couldn't believe it. They reopened the case.
But is that also because you said there are two separate issues at play when it comes to something like that?
Well, now it looks like there might be a third issue.
Okay.
And the third issue might be that your daughter has to go to court, maybe not for the pain and suffering aspect because it's a bit soon for that, but it might be as a result of a Highway Traffic Act ticket. So you said the other party was charged. And so your daughter might need to go to be a witness at the Highway Traffic Act ticket court hearing.
She did go to the reporting center to report it.
Yeah.
And I think the officer that actually showed up was to do with, he just saw this accident. He wasn't really from Scarborough. He wasn't from Toronto. such a phenomenon,
What should Linda and her daughter do at this point, Jasmine?
I think you don't need to worry right now because she's got valid insurance at the time of the accident. Her insurance company is going to appoint counsel for her, a lawyer for her, and that lawyer is going to give your daughter advice. If there's valid insurance, she also has policy limits of some amount. The minimum in Ontario is $200,000. Most policies these days are about $1 million. So I think that just following the guidance of your insurance company and the lawyer they appoint for your daughter will be sufficient for you.
And you mentioned pain and suffering can take a long time. This is not something that's going to happen quickly. So do they just sort of wait and see the extent of the pain and suffering? Is that why? Yes,
exactly. In motor vehicle claims, you actually cannot be successful for a pain and suffering claim unless you have met a permanent and serious impairment test. With soft tissue injuries is what it sounds like. No broken bones, given that we saw this individual walking around after. I think that, less than a month ago, they probably haven't met that threshold yet.
Is it a time allotment?
So you've got 2 years to sue. Okay. So there's a 2-year limitation to sue from personal injury incidents. So they've got adequate time, but there's no way you would be going to court just yet. Unfortunately, our courts are so backlogged right now. So you're not going to court just yet for the pain and suffering aspect.
Okay. Somebody texted in a question, and you can text or give us a call if you like, 416-872-1010. Text us at 71010. Here's one for you, Jasmine. If one of your neighbors is doing things that absolutely drive you nuts, are you able to sue for personal injury? The injury would be mental health issues. It would be backed up by a letter from a psychiatrist or psychologist. Is mental health considered a personal injury?
It is. It is, but neighbor disputes are very difficult. So you can certainly consult with a personal injury lawyer and see what your options are. You would definitely need evidence. So you said you've got some, and that's great. But it would have to be connected to the incident that's occurring.
When we were discussing earlier, because you specialize in bar and club assaults, and you mentioned bouncer assaults, and you could have a scenario where somebody has been drinking and there's a scuffle, and then the person thinks, I was drunk or I got into it, and they later see a video that shows it was unprovoked. A bouncer assault on them is one example. Another bar and club issue is alcohol over service. We were talking about that earlier.
So over-service seems to be a norm, at least from what I see, but it's actually illegal to over-serve patrons. If someone appears intoxicated, you can't serve. People serving alcohol have to be Smart Serve certified, so they go through training to ensure that they're doing the right thing when they're serving alcohol. But unfortunately, we still see it. It's very prevalent. And in addition to that, if you have been served alcohol, the establishment that served you that alcohol, they owe you a duty to ensure your safety, even after you've left the establishment. So they need to make sure that you're getting home okay. If there is an altercation that you're involved in, if there's a personal injury or property damage resulting from your behavior as a result of being intoxicated due to being overserved, that place you're at is on the hook.
Mike is on the line. Hi, Mike. Go ahead with Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine. Question for you. Is there a time limit after which you can no longer go after a case that involves an injury that happened at a commercial building? Like my wife slipped and fell terribly and has been getting chiropractic work for a year. She tried to work it out on her own to no avail. And I don't know if now it's just been over a year, and I suddenly got concerned that maybe she waited too long before lawyering up on this.
No, you're fine. You're within the time limit. The Limitation Act has a time limit right now of 2 years, or an expiration date of 2 years. So she's got 2 years to sue, so you're totally fine with that.
Okay, great. What was your name again? Because we may be in touch.
It's Jasmine Daya, and the website is Jasmine Daya & Co., and last name is Daya.
Thank you.
All right, Mike. See, look what we're doing. We're trying to get you some more business. You probably don't need any more business.
No, sounds good to me. Keep it coming.
Okay, let me ask you, because we've got some text questions and not a lot of time, so I'm just going to pick one of them. In car accidents, can you be sued civilly? Friend of the family is being sued, and they are not at fault.
So let me clarify those facts. The answer is yes, but
We got it kind of confused here.
Yes.
That's why I love having people like you in, so we can have it explained to us.
So, okay. So who's suing who here?
So, car accident. This person was in a car. This is how I'm interpreting it.
Okay.
This person was in a car accident. They were found to not be at fault in the car accident. And the other party is now trying to sue them civilly. Can that be done?
Okay. So the not at fault part is probably, I'm guessing, again, from the property damage aspect. So there's recent law on this, actually, in the last few years, that says that whatever your property damage insurer says is not necessarily the case from the personal injury perspective. So you could be found not responsible from the damage perspective, but from a personal injury perspective, you may be found responsible or partially responsible. There is a possibility that it's not 0 or 100%. You can be found 25% or 50% responsible for an accident. So that's a possibility too.
We've got so many great questions and we're out of time. Can I get a quick yes or no? Somebody texted in, because I know this area you specialize in as well. My daughter is getting bullied via Snapchat by her classmates. Is there any legal action I can take?
Yes, absolutely. I just had a case like that. 2 girls that were bullied by Snapchat had to change schools because the bullying got so bad. Problem with Snapchat is that you cannot get the information. We have tried. My office has tried. We've contacted Snapchat headquarters in the U.S. and we can't get the data. They claim that they don't retain the information, and that's the whole purpose of Snapchat. I'm not sure I believe it.
Well, I kind of got when you said they claim that you're not really buying it.
Not sold.
Jasmine Daya, so much fun, and we'd love to have you back.
I'd love to be back.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many questions for you, and we're out of time, but we'll do it again, and we'll maybe allot some more time next time. So it's Jasmine Daya and Co., Daya. Any other information you want to give out?
Give me a call. You need anything. I'm there for you.
Do you have want to put your phone number out there?
Sure. 416-967-9100.
Thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
Look forward to having you back. You're listening to The Night Side.